Malachi took a fake Percocet in 2020 and lost his life. He didn't know that that's what it was, and fentanyl took him August 6, 2020. I feel like back then, right, 1920, I didn't even know what it was, right? I had no idea that there was even, well, I was very green. I didn't even know that there was medicinal fentanyl that was administered to people. Until my grandmother, when she passed away, well, she had a heart attack. We had to take her to Dallas to, her last hours, and they administered fentanyl to her. So I heard it, right? But I didn't put two and two together that, oh, there's medicinal fentanyl and there's illicit fentanyl. He started taking Percocets with his friends, hanging out, typical 20-year-old, I want to party. And so I truly believe that he didn't know, because it was something that he just did. Like, hey, we get it from so-and-so's grandma out of her medicine cabinet, and he brought it to me, and that's how they become addicted. And then it's like, okay, so-and-so's grandma doesn't have it anymore. So then what do? You turn to the street. They look the same. The story is that they all took the same thing. And so, when what we teach in the schools now is something called the chocolate chip cookie effect, right? The drug dealer mixes all their stuff up. You may get a pill that has fentanyl, and you may not, out of this very same batch. You may have a large amount that's deadly. You may get a tiny amount that doesn't do anything. You never know what you're going to get. So yeah, I believe that he did not know. I always say, if it has not taken you out yet, it will. And if you think it can't happen to you, it will. It just hasn't yet. He was a toot. He really was. He wanted to be a bull rider at a very young age. Yeah, little black boy bull rider. So cute. He would wear boots and jeans and want to be with the horses and pigs and cows and all these things, right? He loved wrestling. He was very spoiled. He was a mama's boy, a nanny's boy. He was very attached to my grandma. But he was so sweet. Just like the most loving, sweet little boy. He wanted to be doing things for other people all the time, and just a sweetheart. As he grew up, he liked music. He liked art. He kind of got away from the whole bull rider thing. But he loved music. Loved being very artistic, was into fashion. He told me he wanted to start a clothing line. I'll never forget one time he came, we had gone school shopping, and, we go to like PacSun where we buy these expensive jeans, right? And I'm like, okay, cool, like whatever. We get home and he busts out the sewing machine, and he's like cutting up these pants and doing all these things. And I'm like, what are you doing? We could have gone to the thrift store to buy jeans if you were going to do all that, but he was tailoring his own jeans because he was very tall and skinny, and he didn't like the way that any of his jeans fit. So he was literally tailoring his own jeans. So then his friends would ask him to do theirs. And I said, son, you could have a business. Like, this is something that you could do. No, Mom, I can't do it for other people. I can just do it for me. And I'm like, yes, you can. And so I would try to encourage him to, start doing different designs, and maybe, but he was very shy and he only wanted to do it for himself. Music. He actually has music on Apple Music. He was like a rapper. I was like, really, guy? A rapper? All right. But now I'm grateful because I can still hear his voice every day. It cracks me up because I'm in the kitchen one day washing dishes, and my younger son says, do you hear that, Mom? That's Cuda, because that's what we called him. That's Cuda, Mom. And I said, no, it's not. I'm like jamming out, washing dishes. And I'm like, wait a minute, turn it on again, right? So they turned it on again. And I realized, like, that was my kid. And even though I didn't really like, some rap music is just about, the lyrics are just, not what you want to hear. And it was kind of along those lines, but I was like, that is my son. He's very talented. And then I started listening more and more and more to the music that he had put together. And it was like, this is what he was passionate about all this time. And I never knew. When he would tell me, hey, Mom, I'm at the studio with my friend, I'd be like, what studio? You're not going to a studio, But he really was. And his friend, who's now a big time, he does a lot of music producing in Austin. He started right here in his mom, in his house, in his mama's house, in his bedroom. And all the boys would go over there, and he's got all of his, sound equipment and stuff. And they would go over there and record. And I never knew it. I'd be like, whatever, you're not at a studio. You better get home, until I started hearing this music. So it was pretty cool. But, as he got into, like, junior high school, it turned into more of, like, this YouTube kind of lifestyle. Right? He wanted to be what he saw on these YouTube rap videos. He started coming home with all these tattoos, and I'm like, I didn't give you permission to get tattoos. What are you doing? And he's like, this is who I am. You told me that I can be who I am. Like, you're always encouraging me to be original, And I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm not telling you to get tattoos all over yourself, But he was just, that's who he was. He was like, this is who I am. I am being who I am. And now that he's gone, I'd give anything to look at those tattoos that I hated, But yeah, he was a really awesome kid. And I met a kid who went to school with him, actually, works where I work. And I never knew it. And he said, I've been wanting to tell you for a while now that I went to school with your son. And I'm like, what? You should have told me, And he's like, I just wanted to tell you that he was a really awesome person. And he was always the encourager of everybody in class. He was positive. He was never mean to anyone. Like, he accepted everyone for who they were. And he was just a great person. And I was just like, I knew in my heart, like, that is my son. That's who he was. So, yeah, he didn't deserve to lose his life at 20 years old. He didn't. He had a lot of things that he wanted to do in life, and now he can't. So yeah, that's him. He in the midst of the whole music happening and everything else, he comes to me one day. Well, actually, he didn't come to me. My younger son came to me and he said, Mom, Noelle's pregnant, which Noelle was Malachi's girlfriend. And I said, what? And he said, Noelle's pregnant. And he just kept walking through the house. And I'm like, no, come back. Wait a minute. So then Malachi sends me a text message. Noelle's pregnant. And I was like, this is not a text message conversation, right? You are young. You don't even know how to take care of yourself. What are you doing, But my grandson is such a huge blessing in all of our lives. And now that he's gone, like, I have a piece of him. And I mean, this kid walks like him, talks, acts like him, everything. He's an amazing little boy. But, when he was 1, Malachi, he changed. And he's like, Mom, I know I have to change. Like, I have to do better. I have a baby. I have to do better. He was working 2 jobs, trying his best to not do these pills, to not be hanging out, to not be messing around. He was working, doing good. And then that night, August 6th, I guess him and his girlfriend had kind of had an argument or whatever, and he's like, I'm going to go out. So he goes out with his friends and took a pill. And then her mom calls me at 1:30 in the morning, and she says, I need you to get over here right now because Malachi's blue and cold and he's not breathing. And I mean, I'll never forget. I just like hop up out of bed, throw on my clothes. I made it across town in like 4 minutes. And I run up 3 flights of stairs. And I see him laying there, and I'm screaming at him to get up. What did you do? Get up, get up. But I knew he was dead. I could tell he's not coming back. And, yeah, that's something that I can never unsee. And then when we get to the hospital, I'm like, what did he do? What happened? And it was no time. Like, we pulled up, walked in, and they instantly came out to tell us. And she said, I can't tell you because we don't have a toxicology report, but if I could guess, it was fentanyl. And I'm like, what is that? I didn't remember that they had given that to my grandmother, it was just because I was still grieving from that. And so then I got angry, like really angry, because I'm like, what was this that he did that took him? He's 20 years old. He has a baby. He has the whole rest of his life. And so then I got mad, and I just kind of started researching, like, what is fentanyl? What is it? And then, of course, all these angel moms from all over the world started reaching out to me, and then I knew what fentanyl was. He was my biggest, like, cheerleader. He would always tell me, Mom, like, you're going to be a millionaire one day. Mom, you're going to do so many great things in life one day. Mom, you just need to be so proud of who you are. And, I had written a book prior to him passing. And I remember he was like, Mom, I'm so proud of you. He's like, I know that I can be a butt sometimes. And he's like, but I'm so proud of you. And I appreciate everything that you've done for us. And I'll never forget that. And even now, his friends will message me and they'll say, he was so proud of you. Like, he would always talk about you all the time and how awesome you were. But he was like my biggest fan. But it's because he was the same. Like, he was very, and a lot of people tell me that. He was just like you. Because I'm like the encourager in my friend group, I'm like the cheerleader. I'm the one who's always trying to keep everyone positive and remind people of their worth and who they are and all these things. And that's who he was. He would always tell his friends, like, speak goodness to his friends, and call out the good things in them. So, yeah, I really miss him. I feel like, and I've said this so many times because, I took this pain and turned it into something else. We started a nonprofit. We do fentanyl awareness and education all over. And people always ask me, what do you think parents need to know? What do you think people need to know? And I think the one thing that people need to remember is that it can happen to you. You can live in the suburbs. You can live in the ghetto. You can be, middle class, upper, high class. low, poor, rich. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what color you are. It does not matter. It can happen to you, you know, whether you were taking pills several times and it happens, whether you're snorting cocaine, whether you're doing methamphetamine, whether you're smoking weed, it doesn't matter. That one thing, if whoever gave you that has laced it with fentanyl, it will kill you. It can kill you. And so you just need to remember that it can happen, and watch your loved ones, not even just your kids. I mean, you know, there's adults that struggle with addiction and with mental health issues and things like that. People need other people to love on them. They need people to check on them and to make sure that they're okay. Are they secluding themselves in their room? Are they not talking to you anymore? Are they hanging out with a different crowd? Are they staying up all night? You know, are they depressed? Are they going through situations, you know, certain times where maybe they're not eating, they're not sleeping right? Like, you can see the changes. You just have to pay attention. You know, and I tell parents all the time, I encourage them, look at your kid's phone. If you pay the phone bill, look at the phone and see what they're talking about. These kids are talking about all kinds of things, especially on social media. You know, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. And these emojis will tell you what they're talking about. And it could save their life. It really could save their life. If you get a hold of that phone and you look at what they're talking about, I'm so guilty. And I talk about it now all the time. I'm so guilty of, because I was a working mom, you know, single most of the time. It's like I'd get in the car, they would get in the car, and I'd be like, how was your day? And they're like, good. And then I just keep driving. We may stop and get something to eat, or I drop them back home and then go to work because I have to go back to work. And then it's like, they're just sitting there on their phone. What are they talking about? They could have been asking someone to bring them some pills or weed or whatever. Who knows? But if we're not paying attention to those things, it's happening right under our noses, and we could potentially save them. So, yeah, that's my message.